Hey everyone, I hope you're liking the videos I've been posting so far. I've noticed a lot of the videos that I've been posting are actually, like, the last day or two have just been really short. Here's a cute video, here's some fun things to talk about, maybe because it's St. Patrick's Day or something fun. But today I want to talk to you about a film skill or a thing that happens in film, and that's editing. Editing is something that usually happens in post-production, and it's something that as a common movie watcher is something that you probably don't really notice or pay much attention to. That is, if it's edited well. You typically will notice when a film is poorly edited. It's harder to find one when it is good because it's so good you shouldn't really be paying attention to it. Often will sometimes watch a show, and if you've ever walked away from a movie and felt like, I have no idea what happened, or that was just so, I didn't know that was that team and that was that guy and where he was coming from, and then he just appeared and all those kinds of things. If you are into a show and you can't figure out what the heck is going on, chances are either it was poorly edited. There's a good chance that, I'm not going to just throw the editor under the bus, there's a good chance he didn't have the shots that he really needed to make that work. And also sometimes screenplay, right? Sometimes it could have just been written oddly and they're doing the best that they can because of it. I'll give you an example. The newest Fantastic Four that came out, if you walked away from that movie like, what the heck did I just watch? That was a good example of a poorly edited film. Again, it could be screenplay, but like the fact that they don't even get their powers till halfway through the movie and there's this huge buildup for one little tiny fight. Did they write it that way? Did they shoot it that way? Was it edited that way? Earlier this summer, I watched a film with my family that was about a missionary for his church decided basically to give up his college dream of basketball to go on a serve a mission, and then ended up helping the Olympic team. And it was a fascinating story. I loved the historical part of the story, but the film, I couldn't tell. Was it poor budget and filming wise they didn't have the equipment they need to get the shots that they needed? Was it written that way? Was it edited that way? Was it a mixture of the things? But I couldn't tell my left from my right. Was that the Olympic team that was just there? Was that a whole bunch of missionaries playing basketball? And why is this guy all of a sudden teaching the team to play basketball? We've never actually seen him play. We don't even know if he's good. Like, it was just so choppy and so bad. It was really hard to enjoy. One of the reasons I'm talking about this today is I watched a film with my husband the other night called Ford versus Ferrari. I went to Redbox to rent it, and it was basically on sale for like $10, and I was like, done, let's do that instead of renting it. And when I went to research the film after watching it, which is something I often like to do, I realized it had won some awards for best editing, and I thought, oh, that's a perfect thing for me to talk to you guys about today. So again, editing is one of those things, if it's done well, you don't really notice it as much. If you know what's going on in the storyline, you know, sometimes you'll see a couple maybe sitting at a table discussing, and it's cutting back and forth between his perspective and her perspective, and it makes sense, right? Their eye lines, okay, eye lines is a whole nother job, but never mind. But if it's making sense, you know what they're talking about, the movement between it's great, that's gonna all be an editing thing. So a couple of movies that you could watch that are known well for their editing, that I want you to pick one, watch it, and have a discussion of how did that change, enhance, or move the movie, right? How it's edited can help progress a story as well. Sometimes it might move things slower or faster. Was it important for them to not cut the scene and see that person really have that emotional moment, or did we really need that to progress the story? Things like that. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is a movie called Hugo. Hugo is a kids movie. It is based on a book. It's not, the original book's not called Hugo. I want to say it's like the invention or the creation of, and I can't even remember now. So I also posted a video recently that talked about an app called Scribd, which is an unlimited audio book kind of app where you can access books like that. If you haven't watched that video, go watch it right now, because right after I posted it, with everything going on right now with coronavirus, they are giving 30-day free trial for that app, and that book is on there as an audiobook. So those of you parents that want to sit down and listen to an audiobook, maybe while you're doing some spring cleaning, and then sit down one night and watch it and pay attention to the editing, that would be a great option for you. Another movie that is probably, if you have older kids, is Raiders of the Lost Ark, is known for one of the top, I don't know, 20, 50, whatever films edited wise. And that's also a good example because that one's a lot more action. And having a film be edited well so that you don't feel lost in an action scene and everything going on is that much harder to do. So that's a perfect example of a movie with action that's edited well. The last one I'm going to recommend to you, I'm probably going to get a little bit of scoff because I do live in a high Christian community and belong to a Christian church, but one of the best films edited, in my opinion, is a rated R film called Pulp Fiction. And that is a film that the timeline is not linear. It fluctuates, characters are all intertwined in different things, and that, in order to make a film like that be successful, it has to be flawlessly edited, and they successfully do that, in my opinion, in that movie. So those are kind of 3 movies you could watch to learn a little bit about, to see editing. If you want to learn more about editing and more of the processes, there are a couple of really good YouTube videos. I can post some links in my comments below, as well as I made a friend recently who made a documentary on editing, and I just watched it today, and I really did enjoy it. It was edited very well, but I really did love how the story progresses, and they go through the history of how Apple came out with the new Final Cut Pro 10, I'm probably saying that backwards. But anyway, it was very fascinating to hear the story about this tool and the difference between editors that probably rely on tools versus editors that have the skill and don't necessarily need a powerful tool. But one thing that I loved about the ending of this documentary, which I will always put also put the link in below for you to go view, is they talked about how much more accessible these type of tools are in our hands today. And someone made a comment in there that I 110% agree with, and that is, kids today are most likely not even going to be able to graduate high school without having made or edited their own film in one shape or form before they graduate high school. This is something that our kids are asked to do more and more of in their education. I mean, my son just had to make a video this year. I think he's had to make 2 videos this year, one on more on sound things and one on how to be kind, and I've had to teach him how to edit to help him do those things, and this is something that, 10, 20, 30 years ago wasn't in the access of anybody to utilize. But now there's so many apps and programs that learning how to really edit a film is an important skill, because our kids are having to use it and find ways to use it as a communicative tool to help show what they're learning and how to do different things and show different skills. And so I do think it's important to educate yourself on it, to teach your kids about it and do those things. So I would suggest looking up a couple videos. I'll put the link of the video for the documentary below, and play around with apps and programs. I mean, maybe while you guys are done, let's make a family video. Make a family video of what it's like day to day or experiencing coronavirus, and send it to grandma and grandpa or aunts or uncles that live outside of the state. But anyway, this is one of my longest videos, and I'm apologizing, but I do think it's important because I do want you to understand the importance of editing and how much it really can make or break a film. And I think it's something that's sometimes overlooked, and I don't want that to be a thing. So check out one of those videos, or there's lots, if you Google like best film movies edited of all time, there's quite a big lengthy list. Some are a lot older, some are newer, but those are the top 3 that I recommend. Hugo, which is on Netflix. Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is also on Netflix. It was on Hulu recently, but they're both on Netflix, and Pulp Fiction. So check those out, or comment and let me know which ones that you have either watched and realized how bad the editing is, or that you watched and you feel like it really added to the story. I will add, go watch Ford versus Ferrari, because like I said, that was edited very well as too. So have a good day, everyone.